You are listening to the Outside the Boards podcast. I'm Danny O'Leary. For most of my professional career, I have worked in mainstream sports for some of the world's leading sports organizations and properties and blue chip brands, helping to create award-winning omni-channel marketing campaigns, result-driven sales strategies, and impactful brand building initiatives. But all that work doesn't compare to the fun, excitement, and challenges I've been fortunate to experience working for the king of all sports, Polo. For nearly a decade, I've put my heart and ambition into helping advance the sport of polo. I've made lifelong friendships, met some incredible people, traveled to memorable polo destinations, and heard the craziest stories. My goal is to share these people, places, and stories with you and provide a unique behind-the-scenes perspective of the game that breaks all the common stereotypes, all while discussing key issues affecting the sport today and the constructive sharing of ideas, insights, solutions, and best case studies for the purpose of advancing polo globally. Every week, I will have honest conversations with polo industry leaders, enthusiasts, and awe-inspiring people who make this sport great and fun to be around. I hope through their knowledge and their unique perspectives, they will motivate and inspire you. Together, we will explore ways you can make small tweaks to boost your polo business, whether you are a club, event, team, or player, that will amount to big changes in revenue, participation, attendance, and exposure. Saddle up. Welcome to Outside the Boards with me, Danny O'Leary. Danny O'Leary here, and welcome to Season 3 of the Outside the Boards podcast. On this final Season 3 episode of Outside the Boards, I am thrilled to introduce you to Pamela Flanagan, Hope Arellano, and Hazel Jackson, 3 of the 4 members of the Lafayette women's polo team and winners of the 2003 U.S. Open Women's Polo Championship. For the first time in the podcast's history, we are linked to all 3 players who are joining us from Florida, California, and Argentina. It has been a month since these ladies were last together and over a month since the Women's Open Championship, but the sweet sensation of victory is still flowing through their veins. Despite a rough start to the Open, losing to BTA by 1 in the first match, the loss did not deter the team, having practiced and played competitively together leading up to the Open. They would effortlessly roll past competition, knocking out Cid Fitness by 8 and San Saba by 5 before meeting Dundas in the finals, defeating them 12-6. Between all 3 players, they have 15-plus Open appearances and 8 or more Open championships. So many incredible accomplishments between these 3 women, and the accolades keep coming. Join and listen to how this incredible team came together and the amount of effort, planning, and coordinating goes into building a successful team and string. These ladies were also not shy to share some pants-splitting stories as well. Thank you, ladies, for capping off another successful podcast season and reminding me how awesome women's polo is. Congratulations on all your success. So let's get started, everyone. Enjoy. Woohoo! Finally, I get you guys all on board. This is a record. 4 people at once on this thing.
Wow.
Hey, Hazel, can you hear us?
Yeah.
We apologize to our listeners. She is indirectly communicating via Pamela Flanagan's phone as part of this interview. So apologize in advance, but Pamela, I know you're going to do the best you can to make sure that we can all hear her on our end. My gosh, guys, I'm so happy to have you finally on here. I know it's been more than a month since the Lafayette women's polo team was virtuous in winning this year's U.S. Open Women's Polo Championship. I would have a bottle of champagne here, and you'd hear a pop going on. Hopefully you guys are all, wherever you are, relaxed, enjoying a glass of wine, champagne, or what have you. We're all over the place. I'm in Chicago. Pamela, are you in Florida?
I am, yes.
Hope, you're in Cali?
I am.
And Hazel, you're in Argentina.
Exactly.
All right. I love it. All over the world. Well, guys, let me just say, congratulations to all 3 of you and every single individual that was part of building your successful team and on that day. So big congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, has the dust settled? Have you guys moved on?
A little bit, but I think, this year
I'm still holding on to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Hazel. Still celebrating. But
I'm still lapping it up.
Yes. But I think you just start looking to next year, one tournament ends and then the next day you're nose deep in your computer with an Excel sheet trying to figure out next.
Pam never stops is the moral of the story.
Well, it seems as though it never changes. I mean, even in men's polo, you never know if you're going to be part of the same team. It's always shifting around and things like that. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like the most consistency I've actually ever seen has been in women's polo when it comes to teams and players. But no, like I would love to know, guys, because Pamela, I interviewed Louis in a prior podcast, and he told me that this team was coming together. And this was back in January, keep in mind. And that was really exciting. I think he told me the names. I think, not to quote myself, was that sounded like the dream team of women's polo. And it was. Let's be honest with ourselves. You guys are rock stars. You guys really are. If I was a gambling man, I would have easily put $1,000 probably down on your game. So from your perspective, how did the team come together? Do you guys know how it all kind of came together?
So Hazel and I had played together in the past before. We've played a few years together, and Hazel and Hope are really close. They can speak to that, but I've always wanted to play with Hope. I've never had the opportunity to play with Hope. And after playing with Hazel, I knew I was never going back to not playing with Hazel. And this idea and possibility of playing with Hope became an option. And it was just like for me, it was a no-brainer. And when I ran it by Hazel, for her, it was the same. She said, absolutely, I wouldn't have it any other way. So the three of us, kind of that core team, came together almost immediately after handicaps were released.
And was it you, Pamela, that was kind of just making those phone calls and kind of putting everything together at that point?
Yeah, me and Hazel, because Hazel and I had already kind of talked about sticking together and playing together. So, not just me, but Hazel too. And then with bringing Winnie on board, that was the three of us girls. Every one we looked at, I passed by the girls and we discussed it, and everything from jump. She was.
That's 100% for Pamela. She gets credit for that.
My find, but their endorsement. And everything from the get-go was kind of a team effort between the three of us, building out from the minute we knew we were going to play together. It was like the three of us worked together to make the best team possible.
Now, you mentioned, Pamela, that you didn't play with Hope before. Had the other three, have you guys played on a team? Or Pamela, did you ever played with Hazel or Winnie before on a team prior to this?
Yeah, Hazel and I won the Open together.
That's right.
And I have played against Winnie, but never with her. And the last time I played against her was like 3 years ago, maybe. So it had been a while since I had seen her play.
Explain the story, Pamela. Explain the story why you chose Winnie.
That's a good one.
Hey, we love a good story.
As you know, Winnie is very young, but she's very intense. And I have a very specific memory of playing against Winnie. And it could have been like 2018, 2017, maybe. And so she was even younger. I don't know how old she was, 14, 15. And she was playing against me. And I vividly remember her and her mom playing together. And Winnie was supposed to be coming to me. And her mom was kind of giving her some coaching. And I don't think Winnie was particularly pleased. And she was getting a bit frustrated. And she started cussing at me and coming at me super hard and super intense. And I remember thinking, gosh, she's kind of a pain in my butt. I do not like playing against this little girl. So she's only going to get better. But I'd love to have her on my team. And that was that.
That seems like to be a situation where it's one of those you got to be there to see it sort of thing. But she sounds like a little bit of a spitfire.
She was quite a spitfire, to say the least. I won't repeat what she said. But I relayed what she said to my two teammates that are on this call, and they both agreed, good find, let's do it.
Hope, have you played with Hazel or Winnie in the past?
So I've never played with Winnie before, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, she was a great player. And Hazel I have played with in the past before. We had played an Open a few years back. We had made it to the finals and lost to Pam. And I've known Pam for a really long time, and I've always wanted the opportunity to get to play with her. It's one of those things that you play against her, and I much prefer to play with her than against her. That's for sure. But yeah.
Wonderful. How about Hazel? How about you? Have you played with Winnie?
No, never played with Winnie either. That was Pam's find, and what an amazing find. I think Pam's actually secretly quite proud of herself for finding Winnie.
Very, very.
Which fair play. And yeah, obviously I played with Hope, I think 2019?
I think it might have been. I was trying to think if it was 2008, 19, but I think it was 19.
But yeah, like Pam said, it was a no-brainer. Like, as soon as they mentioned that they were going to raise the level to 24, and I realized that we could all fit in the same team, it was like, boom, boom. Like, that was one of the first conversations with Pam. Like, let's get her booked up. You literally have to get Hope booked up about 4 years in advance, and then you get hold of her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So where's Winnie from originally?
St. Louis. So I played against her while we were in Chicago. I do the women's tournament out there every year. And I'd play against her in the Rose Cup that the San Filippo's host and in the Chicago women's tournament that they had at Aranmore. So I'd played against her a few times when she was a kid. But also Winnie has an eventing background. Like she's done a lot of cross country and jumping and dressage and everything. So I think for the position that she had to play, the first thing that we look for is someone who's a really talented rider and someone who can take direction, because if they have that combination, everything else, the coaching, the experience, we can kind of help with that, especially when you have Hope and Hazel on your team and Julio Arellano as your coach.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is learnable, but the riding takes a long time to develop. So she had a very well-rounded riding equestrian resume. That is one of the reasons why I was really fond of her as a potential teammate.
Well, you find that often too in polo. A lot of people get their start in more of the common, more popular sports, unless like you're like Hope, who has a dynasty in her family and a Hall of Fame father. Or if you remember, Hope, our conversation, I think you were in the womb at the time where you were your first playing polo.
Yeah.
So let's go down the list then. All right, since we have a bit of a rock star team here. So Pamela, this is your fourth, right? Fourth open and win?
Fifth open.
Fourth win. Hope, is this your first win?
This is my second.
Second win. How many opens?
I think that would have been 5. Fifth
Five.
open.
And Hazel, how about you?
I'm probably similar. Well, I would have played probably at least 5 times, I imagine. And winning, well, I'm not sure. Pamela, what have we done? 2, we've made a final.
Yes.
No, I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. It's before we played up in Houston, no? When they had the ladies open.
Okay.
Hazel and I placed second in 2021. We placed first in 2022, and then we placed first again in 2023. So that's what we've done together.
Unbelievable. That is incredible, guys.
They're quite a team, those two.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking 15 plus years of U.S. Open Women's Championship experience. The interview doesn't get any better than that. I don't think you can do that with any professional athlete. I'd have to go back to the dynasty days of the LA Lakers or UCLA. But that's fantastic. One, I think you guys need to get some type of thing to put on your wall that has all the dates and accolades of what you've won, first and foremost. I had a similar conversation with Jared Zenny. He's like, I don't know, man. Wow, I can't remember what I won MVP or this, and this, and this. So when did you guys start preparing for the Open?
I think the key reason as to why Pamela's been so successful is because she literally is always 1 year ahead. Like she does everything in advance. And I think the key to winning the Open is organization and to be completely prepared. You've got to have the best team, the best horses, everything. And Pamela literally goes to every single detail and gets them so well organized in advance. I think that's the massive key to.
It's very true. I mean, Pam goes above and beyond. I think what really helped us was getting that Pam organized that we could play a 6-school mixed tournament all together before we even played the pre-Open, which we were able to play with Louis. And so it was really fun. And I think that helped us out a lot too, as well.
And I've got to give Louis credit for that. That was actually his idea. He wanted to play, as you guys know, he plays every level possible. Yeah. And he wanted to play a 6-school, and he asked me if I wanted to play with him. I said, sure. And he thought about it for about a day and came back and said, I have a great idea. I said, what's that? And he was like, I want to play with the Women's Open team. I was like, well, baby, I don't think you can do that. And he was like, no, in the 6-school, I mean, let's play with Hope and Hazel. It'd be so fun and be a great way to get you girls prepped for the tournament. And I was like, okay. And we were having trouble already organizing practices or to find fields. So it was the perfect way to prepare ourselves and kind of take care of the issue of not having fields, organizing practices. So that was totally Louis. And I think that really helped us tremendously.
How much was time in advance was that before the start of the Open that you guys started to play in the 6-school with each other?
I think it was in February, early to mid-February.
Okay.
Yeah. The Tababui was the last weekend of February, and the Open spanned from the first week of March to the third week of March.
Do other teams do that similarly, or did you feel like you guys had an advantage because you guys started playing together as a team so early?
No, it definitely helped. And I think we were the only team to do that as such. But I was going to say a massive shout out to Louis, who stepped down in the semi-finals because Winnie had come into town with her horses. And instead of Louis playing in 6-school semi-finals with us, he stepped down and let Winnie play, and we played as a team, and he was phenomenal.
Not only did we do that, not only did he step down in the semi and put Winnie in for him so that we could have a game together, which was really cool. David Faraci couldn't make one of his 8-goal games, and they called Winnie and had her fill in for him so that she could play an 8-goal to get her up to speed. So she was playing as the Lefay substitute in all of the low goal to get where she needed to be.
And I have to say the amount of support from both the Lafay and the Dazos team. I mean, they were at every single one of our games, the practices, everything. It was amazing to see. It felt like, honestly, a big family to be a part of. It was a really lovely organization to be able to be a part of.
I hear that a lot about the Lefay Polo team in general from Louis and Dazos guys. I apologize, I forget off the top of my head. You had mentioned Pamela him earlier on in this interview that Louis credits for his team and the Dazos team and being put together along with all the horses. I apologize.
Robbie Bilbao, yeah. Mm-hmm. Robbie's the manager for both Lefay and Dazos, and he was managing the Lefay women's team. So he was managing 3 in one season.
He's phenomenal.
While also playing himself in multiple tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he did it all.
Now, did you guys each all supply your own ponies, or did they come from one particular place? Because you guys are, from all over the place. I know you guys spend most of your time in Florida, but I mean, I'm always intrigued by the horse situation.
Well, Hope had her own amazing horses, as you saw. I mean, she was well-mounted every single game, and that was all Hope. So, Hope, I give you credit. Your horses are amazing. And having you as a player on the team, it was really simple because, Hazel, you were not so easy. No, I'm just kidding. No, it would have been great. It would have been easy, but we had a bit of a hiccup situation. Hazel and I had organized horses for both her and I in November of last year. So November before the tournament started. We had communicated with horse suppliers that we had previously used so that we would know some of the horses going into it. And then about a month before the tournament started, maybe a little more, those suppliers notified us that they would no longer have horses available to us for the tournament. So we were short a dozen or more horses and had just a few short weeks. So that was a mini panic, but we made it work. And candidly, I think that it was stressful, yes, and it was difficult, but I think that it worked out even better for us. Instead of getting 12 or 15 horses from one supplier, we went to over like 20 horse owners. Mm-hmm. And we went and tried their best horses. So instead of, the top 15 from one supplier, we got the top 1 or 2 from 20 different suppliers. And I think that really helped us in the final. I think it was pretty evident that our horsepower in the final was phenomenal. And I'm not saying me personally, I'm saying the horses that we were able to rent and had access to, because credit to Hazel, we had a big discussion at one point and I said, okay, obviously we have a budget, but here's the deal. If you can go find the horses, top quality horses that are open level horses, I will go find the funds and the sponsorship to be able to cover that if I can't. So I trust in you to find them, trust in me to be able to figure it out. And I got to give Hazel credit. She went and contacted I don't know how many people and tried I don't know how many horses and picked her top 10 or so for the semifinal and the final. And I mean, You saw her play. I don't need to say any more.
With that many horses from that many different people, like Hazel, do you know the horse in advance? As you've seen it played before? Or is it just a situation, we need your top 2 horses, I'm going to go ride them, feel them out and so on and so forth and determine that?
That's a tricky one. Well, basically, there was one horse, for example, one called Ice Cream. We went to go watch the 6th goal, and I saw this horse, and I spotted it out from the beginning, and that was amazing. And then we went to go and ask them to use it. They weren't so keen to rent it to us, but for the finals, they rented it for us, which was amazing. But again, I'd never ridden it before, but luckily it was an unreal horse. 2 other horses which I played in the final, I literally played the day before. But yeah, I mean, luckily I know. Like Pam said, I did literally go around asking everyone and trying a lot of horses. And I know I've got a really nice base. And I think already for next year, I've already got that base of horses. So I know what I'm coming back to, which is ideal. But it did take a lot of work. And I actually got to the point as well, because obviously it's not cheap to rent horses in Florida, which I totally understand. But I even said to Pamela in the end, I was like, Pamela, I will rent this horse out of my own money. But
she did. She was like, if we can't do this, I'll pay for it. I'll take it out. Take it out of my salary. I just want to win. She's a true competitor and was like, I just want to win. Take whatever you need. I need this horse. No.
I sat on 2 horses from Felipe Viana the day before, and finally, after like 2 months of trying horses, I could relax because I knew I had like a solid 4 or 5 horses, which I know that I could double all of them. So, and when you reach the semis and the finals, you end up doubling your best horses. So it's not like you need loads, but you need good ones.
Outside the Board Season 3 podcast is presented by the United States Polo Association. The United States Polo Association is organized and exists for the purpose of promoting the game of polo, coordinating the activities of its member clubs and registered player members, arranging and supervising polo tournaments, competitions, and games, and providing rules, handicaps, and tournament conditions for those events. Its overarching goals are improving the sport and promoting the safety and welfare of its human and equine participants. Founded in 1890, the USPA is the largest voluntary sports organization in North America for the sport of polo. The USPA is currently made up of more than 200 member clubs and over 5,000 registered player members. It annually awards and oversees roughly 50 national tournaments hosted by its member clubs. For more information, please visit uspolo.org. I know the answer to this question because I ask everyone, but what are you looking for specifically in a horse when you ride it? Like, what are the attributes that need to pop out to know this is a horse, this is perfect for the Open, and this is perfect for me, or any one of my teammates for that matter?
It's different for each person, isn't it? I mean, personally, for example, I love horses which take me, which in Spanish we say chevadoras, which means like they're very forward going and they take you into the ride-offs and they win the plays very naturally. But there's some people who prefer a little bit more handle and, hope your horses just look amazing. But I mean, it's different. Pam, for example, needs horses as well, which are kind of similar to mine, which have got a lot of power, which you can win the ride-off because she does much more of like a marking position. But we had a few, which we knew were just general good horses. There was actually one called Rapper, which came from Lafay, which was capable, like I could play it, Pam could play it, and then Winnie actually ended up playing it. It was such a good horse. Yes. There was only Hope who didn't play it.
Now, who did you guys play for your first match?
BTA, and we lost. Won't forget that one.
Well, it's a blessing in disguise, though. It was all fate.
I agree.
I think it was supposed to happen.
It made us wake up a little bit. I think we had played together. We were really confident going in. And
we won the Tababui.
Yeah, we had just come off a win. We had just won the Tababui, and we won both of our games. Not easily. The teams were amazing, but I think we were pretty confident that we were going to win. And then, we did. And I think we needed to lose that first game.
I could not agree more. It was necessary for us to get that fire in us for the next few games.
It's like a low seed beating a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They weren't prepared going into it. They thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Not to say that you guys thought it was going to be a cakewalk, but
we did it. We knew these girls were talented. We knew it was a 4-man team. We went in, but I just think, I don't know, it's that fire that Hope talked about. I will say this about Hope. After we lost that game, Hope, you were like a different person.
I was a little nervous as to what you were going to say, Pam. I was like, something stared at the tent.
Yes.
We all heard from Hope's family that she plays better when she's angry.
Yes. So we threw the game. No, I'm just kidding. But I remember the next game, Hope was, on fire, but the fire was evident. I think Louis saw a side of Hope that he had never expected. Hope shared a few words with the team and, did so in an intense manner. And I look over at Louis and his eyes were like the size of dinner plates, just like a deer plate staring at Hope. Like, did I just hear what I think I heard?
In my defense, I did not see him there and I instantly regretted it.
Well, it was because it inspired all of us and it really brought our drive up. So that first loss was important. It was not fun, but I think it was important.
Going into the match, was there one team that, I don't want to say that you guys were intimidated. Was there a team that you kind of thought this was the team that we got to beat or look out for?
Dundas.
It was. Who you guys played in the final?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They're a big organization. They come in super well prepared always. And obviously Nina and Mia are capable of anything. So a lot of respect for them always. But I think luckily we came in more prepared this year.
And who was on their team?
Nina Clarkin, Mia Cambiaso, Erica Gandamkar, and then Sarah Magnus is the sponsor, but she got hurt. So it was Ana de la Fuente as her substitute. But the Nina, Mia, Erica combination, that's a tough one to beat. And when you combine that with the horsepower they had access to,
yeah,
makes it even more challenging and difficult. They had like 40 goals worth of players under their tent helping them, and some of the best horses in the world on their team. So it's definitely a team that we were anticipating being a tough match.
Like yourself, did they play in any tournaments in advance of the U.S. Open Championship?
I don't believe so, but maybe Hope and Hazel.
I definitely did. I think they had practices over at Valiente, but I don't think they actually played any tournaments beforehand. But Nina got in very early as well. Nina and Erica were in town very early, so they were trying horses, etc. Nice. And
they played with each other like you guys have had in the past?
They have. Nina and Mia, I played with them in 2019 and the 2020 final.
And they always play together in Argentina.
Exactly.
I find that always fascinating, just how the dynamics of a team and how well you must play together. You can't just show up at the field together and you think it's going to all go well at the end of the day. It's something where your personalities, your horses, your skill set, finding where you guys need to be on the field, how you complement each other is so critical to the flow of the game and whether or not you can persevere and win at the end of the day. I hear that over and over and over again. Pamela, as you know, even from Chicago, people make that mistake all the time. Teams are thrown together and they could be the best guys and they'll just lose to Oakbrook, who's been playing together for years. So it's always interesting to hear that. So who did you play in your second game?
Our second game was that CrossFit El Cid?
Yes.
That was Millie Sanchez and Fatty, no?
Yeah. Because my brother was coaching them.
Yes. Fatih is my older brother's girlfriend, so he was coaching the other team and she was playing his horses, everything like that. So it was a joke in the house the night before.
Is that the game that you guys feel like you got your rhythm together?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
We have to do a big shout out to Julio Arellano because to be honest, there was so much work behind the scenes as well. We literally had team meetings like every other day and we go through every single video, and Julio was always there. He really supported us, and I think that helped a lot. Like you said, like there's so much more than just rocking up to the field. Like we'd already discussed that. We all knew our positions. The 6 goal we played beforehand, we could test different positions, see how we got, like you said, like complemented each other on the field. There's so much more to it than, like you said, just rocking up to the field.
Not to mention, speaking of the preparation that took place off the field with Julio, it was the same with Hazel. We had a WhatsApp group chat with the team members. And after loss to BTA, Hazel must have sat home
homework.
Unknown number of hours. I don't know how long this took her, but she went through and watched the game back and screen recorded pretty much every play that took place. And it was like a 10-second screen recording. And then she'd write a summary of what happened in that play and how we could have done better. And then sent it to the WhatsApp group chat for all of us to read. And my phone, all of a sudden, I had like 42 unread messages on WhatsApp. And I opened it and it's all Hazel sending video clips. It was amazing.
It was great, though. It was necessary.
When you guys are looking at game video, what are you guys looking at specifically? Are you looking at the opponent? Are you looking at what you did or did not wrong given a particular play? I'm real curious as to what you're pulling out of a video following a game.
I think we look more at ourselves and how we play ourselves and what mistakes we're playing. And I think the playback of videos is vital. There's a lot of mistakes which you make in the field, but you don't see or you don't understand until you see it on the video. I think it's 100% the best way to learn and the best way to explain everything. And then I think that's the best way to prepare for the next game. I mean, of course, we look at the other teams beforehand before we play against them to see what they're going to do in their knock-ins and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But in general, it's like to work on our play.
Okay.
Julio would sit with us for who knows how many hours, but for a number of hours, he sat with us, preparing us before each game. And for example, you would watch the video and he'd say, okay, this player is the player who ended up scoring, right? So if you would have taken this player back here at this moment, that player would have never gotten to the goal to be able to score. So he kind of shows you the what if scenarios. Had you have done something different 2 plays back, that player would have never had that opportunity. And those things are hard to understand or hard to visualize when you're on the field. And if someone's even telling you, at halftime, for example, it's hard to visualize. But when you see it play out in a video, how a small change you can make earlier in a play could affect how the play develops later. It's really, like Hazel said, a wonderful learning experience. I think that's the only way you'd be able to have those learning experiences.
That's fascinating. As someone who's not a professional polo player, let alone a coach or anything like that, I'm thinking to myself as I watch a game or your game, my gosh, you have to have such a level of depth of the game and what to pull out and what to look for to understand how a play would ultimately unfold on the field. That's incredible, especially when you're on horses on 9 acres. Like, it's not a basketball game.
That's why we were blessed to have a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. So then in your next match, you went against San Saba. Is that right? Who you guys beat in the semifinals?
That's right.
Yes.
And who was on their team?
Don Jones, Izzy Parsons. Who were the rest?
Jillian Johnson got injured before the Open started, so Lottie Lamacraft filled in for her, who did an amazing job. And then I'm trying to remember the last.
No, Kylie?
Oh, yes. Kylie Sheehan.
So Kylie, Dawn, Izzy, and Lottie.
Lottie. It's a good team.
It's a really good team.
Right, guys, I love it. You guys were playing up against some of the women trailblazers. Erica, Dawn Jones, all guests of mine in the past. That's fantastic. And so how do you guys think that game went going into your final? Do you guys think that this is all coming together? Because, I mean, when you look at the scores, your second game was 11-3. Your next game was 8-3. You guys are cruising.
It never felt like that, no?
Not at all.
It didn't?
No. I mean, to be honest, all of the games, each and every one of them, I felt like was a fight. And I think mostly with this team, all of us are very competitive and are hard on ourselves. So I think that we were all wanting the best from each other. So I think that we were trying to work for perfection, which is nearly impossible. You know what I mean? So we were all pushing each other so hard that it never felt like we had a big lead at any moment in time.
Mm-hmm. Now, during this whole entire process, up and before the final, was there any concerns that might have happened? Was anyone injured or potentially injured or anything like that?
I was really, really sick for the semifinal. I woke up with the flu or whatever. I don't know if it was flu or something bad, but I couldn't breathe out of my nose. So I couldn't talk. I couldn't yell. I was out of breath. I couldn't breathe. I had the worst head cold. Girls, was that the game where I had to come straight from church?
Yes.
Yeah, Pamela rocked up in a dress.
Looking absolutely beautiful. And it was the best thing.
I had a meeting at the church for the wedding before that game at 9 a.m. So I had to go straight from the church to the field. And I thought if I got there early enough, I'd be sneaky. So I showed up in this like beautiful floral gown and high heels and hair and makeup. And as I'm sneaking in the Port Mayaca bathrooms to change, I see Hazel. She pulls up and starts videotaping me. And then I change and I walk out and I realize I forgot to bring in my gym shoes. So I finally changed into my whites and jersey and I walk out in whites, my jersey and high heels. And as I'm walking to my car, Hope pulls up and rolls down her window and starts. It was a bad day. It was
great. I honestly don't know how you played that day, Pam. You were so sick. So my hat's off to her for that. She played absolutely amazing. So
Pam's best games were the semi-finals. You had a click and you arrived and I don't know what happened. Maybe you got your wedding organization out the way and you were like, I don't know, you just switched it on seriously.
She was quite determined. She talks about how I was angry, but she was very determined.
Yes.
As I look at it, I just more and more the respect that women polo players deserve and how badass you guys are. That's how I look at it. You can show up in your sundray and heels, take it off, and go 30 miles per hour on horseback, playing the most dangerous game in the world.
Honestly, Pamela is casually organizing a wedding, being a stepmom. She's organizing everything for everybody else, rocking up, playing, working as well, just being a lawyer in the meantime, like just doesn't stop. And then on top of that, she's got guests visiting the whole time. I don't know how she juggles.
And not only does she do it all, but she does it all to perfection.
All of you are stunning, by the way. All of you are stunning. So you guys could easily pull off the whole sundress, heels, drop it, throw everything off and get on a horse. No doubt about it. Drop the mic. And turn around and give the middle finger to everyone else as you ride off into the sunset.
Oh, gosh.
All right. So now we defeated San Saba. All right. 8-3. We're going into the finals. Going against a very, very competitive team. I mean, I don't like to use the word blowout, but I mean, you guys dominated 12-6 in that game. Was there anything that you prepared differently going into the finals versus other games?
The finals was a little bit different horse-wise because what Hazel said earlier, that was the time where she had to find her top horses. So we pretty much doubled our horse rental budget for that one game to find the best horses. And even that horse Ice Cream that Hazel had mentioned, both Hope and Hazel were sitting at the 6-school game. I was there with them. And individually, they noticed this horse in the sixth goal and asked about it. And I went back and asked Louis and Robbie about Julio's gray horse. And they both knew immediately which horse I was referring to. And that just shows you not only how great the horse was, but how good of an eye Hope and Hazel have, because they saw the horse play for no more than 2 minutes and picked it out of the crowd.
Pam noticed it as well. It was not just us too.
I noticed it too. It was pretty and gray. So we were able to track down those top horses. And that was, I think, the key for us in the final, was making sure that we had the best horses that were going to match the best horsepower, because Adolfo's hard to beat when it comes to horsepower. So we really wanted to make sure we were prepared. And for my own string that game, you probably know this, Danny, but Louis was playing in his own final, a 16-goal final in Sarasota. And I had been playing a lot of his horses. So he, being the most wonderful man in the world, generously left me 4 of his top horses for the final. And then he took some of his B string horses for his own final to Sarasota. So I was really, really lucky in that he left me some of the top Lafay horses. Hazel was able to find the top horses in Wellington. Hope had her perfect A+ string, which gave us the opportunity to pass some of our other horses to Winnie. So she actually doubled her horsepower as well. All of us kind of bumped up the horsepower for that final. And I think that was really the main difference in how we prepared for it.
Like you said, you had to. I mean, your guys were going up Cambiaso, and obviously the depth of horses that they have is pretty substantial. So it seems as though you had to meet against what their horsepower was, no doubt about it.
Yes, absolutely. And also, I had mentioned that some of the horse suppliers we had communicated with, those horses actually were rented to the other team. So we were going up against some of the horses that we had
no kidding
intended to rent. So that kind of made it a little bit more interesting.
It was quite interesting because obviously the horses which we were supposed to rent, which we had booked up for a year in advance, imagine that they were being given to the third pro on the opposite team. So you can imagine how well mounted the other opposition is. If I was planning to try and play 10 goals off of this string of horses, and their third player, for example, was mounted on these horses. So you can imagine thoughts going into that.
Good point, yeah.
I mean, when you were organizing the horses, did you know that going in advance, being like, I'm going to have these horses for only my first 2 matches, and then I don't have them anymore?
We didn't have those horses at all. They told us a month before the tournament started that the deal was off the table. Another team had reserved them. So those horses were off the table from game 1. So we started scrambling right before the tournament.
I think we got outbidded.
I think so.
That's unreal. You'd think that there would be like a level of exclusivity when you get a horse for your first game and you carry them through the tournament. My gosh. You just showed how crazy of an industry this really is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Literally. The variables are unbelievable, and there's a lot of them out of your control.
But we all had some horses we fell in love with in the final, and it was pretty cool to be able to have that experience, to play them at that level on that field. I know the one that won Best Playing Pony is Hope's Little Mare, that she has a really special story behind. And Hazel had a few that she, I don't think, wanted to let go of. And Louis lent me his little stallion, Piaget, who's just my all-time favorite little horse. So I think for us, having the opportunity to play some of those top horses in the U.S. Open final on Field 1 was really, really great.
And the horse that you guys kept on naming during this podcast, Ice Cream?
Ice Cream is Esquera's mare, and it's a little gray horse that Hazel played.
What was so spectacular about this horse?
It's very, very agile, very forward-going, very much her style. She's a winner. She's got a heart. She's kind of the whole caboodle. She's the complete package. But again, I'd never even ridden it until I stick and bought it just before the game, and then played it. And then I realized it was actually too fast, that I would try and go for the ball and I left the ball behind me and I was gone. So, but that's a very nice problem to have.
Real quick, icebreaker, going down the line. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Mint chip.
Mint chip, mint chocolate chip. That's my wife's favorite flavor.
But in Argentina, we have Nutella flavored ice cream.
Really? I never even knew there was a flavor of that for ice cream.
Yeah, literally, we're ahead of the game apparently here.
It's a hard one for me. I have quite a few. I think the other thing about our team is that we all love desserts. So we would be in our team meetings just going at any sort of cake that we had. It was bad.
I asked Hope if I could bring lunch over for one of our meetings. And she was like, No, just bring the torta from Cilantro's if you don't like.
It's the best cake ever.
Outside the Board Season 3 podcast is presented by the National Polo Center, Wellington. The National Polo Center in Wellington, Florida is located in the heart of South Florida's legendary horse country. The permanent home for polo in America, NPC is owned and managed by the United States Polo Association to showcase the finest the sport has to offer. The association's premier event, the Gauntlet of Polo, takes place from February to April each winter season. Throughout the year, the facilities are also used to showcase USPA member clubs and prestigious national tournament competition. Watching polo from the stadium, private boxes, fieldside tailgates, or special hospitality tents, all overlooking the US Polo ASSN Field 1 is an unparalleled experience. NPC invites you to enjoy the best polo in the country, taking place at one of the most beautiful venues in the world, the National Polo Center, Wellington. For more information, visit nationalpolocenter.com. So, all right, let's break away from the tournament. It seems as though you guys have such a fantastic relationship with each other, just laughing at each other's jokes and experience. And I feel like there's a lot of stories to be had or told or what have you. Outside of the boards, what has been kind of the craziest moment with all you guys together during this tournament or even before it? Is there one story that sticks out?
Well, I wasn't part of this, but the girls went line dancing, and I was there, and I think they had a great time.
Oh gosh, we had a very good time.
Guys, I have the best story ever.
Oh, Hazel, please.
Yeah, sorry.
You're gonna rat me out.
So basically, our personal trainer, India, from Checker Wellness, she was very much part of our group as well. We had a really fun group of girls this year, which obviously I think is like you said, is a lot off the field and on the field. We had so much fun. So we went line dancing, like you said. Pamela didn't make it, unfortunately, but Hope and myself went. And we were all very new to line dancing. And well, to be fair, Hope picked it up very quickly. She was pretty confident and on the dance floor. And one of the dance moves was, I don't know if you could kneel down on the ground and then come up and do a kick. So Hope did this, but very, very quickly turned around, covered her bottom with her hands, and came running over to me because her completely split.
I think Hazel was so calm about it, though. She's like, so what happened? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I was too confidently doing the slut drops, and I got myself into it. Into a predicament.
Safe to say, like the next time we went line dancing, we all went in stretchy jeans and we went. But the other thing I have to say is Pamela is basically, we always have a lot of jokes with the English accent as well and the American accent. So Pamela's basically Hermione Granger when we're together.
Pam is amazing at her English accent.
I had the pleasure of living with Hazel for, how long did you live with us, Hazel? Just a week or so? 2 weeks? I don't know.
Yeah.
When she first came. And Louis was not pleased because by the end of it, I could not help but speak to Hazel in a British accent, or my rendition of a British accent. And it started bleeding over into my personal life with Louis, where I would start speaking a British accent and he'd look at me like I was crazy. So thank you, Hazel, for that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm jealous of Hope's horses and Hazel's accent.
Now, Hope, are we done line dancing right now? Has the split pants thing, the nail in the coffin, or is it no more?
No.
Are we like?
We went back and we did it right. I practiced at home before we went out to make sure that I wasn't going to have another casualty. I'm definitely not good at it, but I thoroughly enjoy it.
I am not good at it either. So you won't see me out there doing that or clogging or whatever that other country type dancing that's out there. But nonetheless, I think, Pamela, you should have line dancing at your wedding or some form of it.
Maybe we can do like a choreographed Women's US Open team line dance.
I'm in. I'm praying that I get to make it.
Some new sponsors,
yes. We can find maybe Luke Casey will be interested.
Yeah.
Call John Muse, see what he's doing.
Hey, why not just go to the Dance Dance Revolution game and try to figure something out there? Or we can get you on Dancing with the Stars. That could be potentially something as well. You never know.
It's like my favorite show ever.
Oh.
My mom calls me an old lady because I sit there and get so excited for my Monday nights to watch Dancing with the Stars. She's like, literally, my mother watched this, Hope. I'm like, well.
It's generational. Danny, that's our goal. We'll get Hope on Dancing with the Stars.
There you go. Let's do it. We can do it. They need some more sports diversity on that show.
She's a 10-goal American player. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. My gosh, the accomplishments and accolades that you guys have is pretty astounding at all such a young age. I applaud every single one of you. And Winnie has a great future ahead of her as well, from the way that you talk about her, to keep that attitude and spitfire about her, because it's kind of intimidating. You know, it's a little bit Muhammad Ali talking trash to the other team. But as long as no fists are flying at each other, I think we're good to go.
I have to say, Winnie handled like all of the criticism, and I think that we had high expectations for her, and we were not easy on her. And I think that every game she got better and better, and she took all of the criticism and the everything, and honestly learned every single game and got better and better. I mean, she was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
She was, and we have to give her credit. Winnie, I wish she was here on this call, but Winnie comes from a family where her father is a military man and her mother is a vet. So she has this kind of innate sense of discipline and horsemanship, and it shows on the field. Winnie was keeping her horses up at Port Mayaca, courtesy of the Orthwine family, who was kind of helping her get that arranged. But she had her own horses there. She was feeding, picking stalls herself, doing sets herself, and then showing up, trailering her own horses, grooming for herself. We literally had to twist her arm to get her some helpers on game days because she was totally convinced.
She still wouldn't let them do it.
She still wouldn't.
Set them all up.
Checking everything before she'd get on. We'd be like, Winnie, let's go. This is a courtesy change, you know? But she finally got the speed of the game. You know, the 6 goal was helpful. Her playing in the 8 goal was helpful to help her understand kind of the speed of transitions at that level. But we have to give Winnie so much credit because at 17 years old, her first time playing in the high goal, she didn't just show up and play the game. She showed up 6 months before when we called her and told her that she was on the team, and she started working, playing, training. She trailered her horses from St. Louis to Texas 2 weeks before she came to Florida for the Interscholastic National Championship, which she won and won Best String, and then loaded up her horses, drove them herself cross country to South Florida, where she unloaded at Port Mayaca, got them legged up, played in the 8 goal, played in the 6 goal, and then played in the Women's Open. And at 17 years old, she was doing this, her and her mother, just the two of them, and not enough good things could be said about them. So I give her a lot of credit for doing what she does at such a young age.
The work ethic, that's just unbelievable. I mean, the work ethic for all of you guys in just being in polo, because a lot of you guys have to do that, or that's how you got your start. I mean, I can't imagine, Hazel, Hope, Pamela, you guys were all part of my language, shoveling shit at one point and, driving cross country and trailers and so on and so forth. I mean, that is phenomenal work ethic. It really, really is. I'm so happy that my daughter is starting to take up the game or riding.
You know what's funny? I say this about Winnie because she's 17, but I forget that Hope just turned 20 and does all the same thing, makes her own horses, trains her own horses. I mean, what she has done is incredible. And now to have made it to 10 goals as an American player, congratulations to you, Hopi. You are, like Hazel mentioned earlier, she's literally making history. And it's really cool, may I add, to be a part of that. I don't know if you feel that way, Hazel, but I think it's so cool.
100%. I saw it coming a little while ago, but no, full credit. And like I said, I've said this before, but I personally think she's one of the best players. Well, she is the best player in the world right now. Her mixed handicap has gone up, but it all comes off of her own back, and I hope your family are just unreal.
Aw, you guys are the sweetest.
Now, Hope, did you see that coming, or were you surprised by the increase to 10?
Not at all. I mean, it came to a complete shock to me, to be honest. I've looked up to Hazel basically my whole life. I've always loved her and idolized her, and she's like a big sister to me. So honestly, to see Hazel and Nina both at 10 goals, in my opinion, I don't even compare to them. I don't think I'm half the player they are. So I think I've got a lot of work to go to be able to be at that level. But I felt incredibly honored. But yeah, no, it came to as a complete shock.
It's like, fair enough, I'm sort of trying to be at the top of my game, and of course you get people coming up and people who are improving it and people who are competing in the same level, same handicap, but I hope to have a person which you're happy for her. She's got everyone behind her because she's got such a good, a nice aura about her. It's there's a lot of people who don't want you to do well. it happens a lot. And I love the fact that Hope like just has the whole world behind her, and everyone's happy for her. They're proud of her and they support her. And I think that's a massive thing, because there's a lot of people who are usually against that.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think women are more embrace that than men do. I think men are naturally very competitive and don't want to see usually the competition doing better. But women, on the other hand, are very supportive of one another. There's no question about that. Trust me, I am guilty of wanting the other person to fail. But congratulations, Hope. That's amazing. I mean, everyone's just excited to see what you can do on the field and what have you. So with that being said, the excitement of winning the Open has not dissipated whatsoever. You guys are all floating on cloud nine right now still. What's next for you? Like, what's on the horizon right now? Hope, I'm going to start with you. What's next?
Currently, I'm in California. I'm going to be playing the 12-goal spring season here, May, June. And then July, I'm going to head to England to play the month there.
Wonderful. Are you know what teams you're playing for at this time?
So, yes, here I'm going to be playing with Jared Zenny, Carlitos Cressida, and Brian Boyd in the 12-goal. And then I'll be heading to England to play with Clorinda, Nina Clarkin, and Mia Cambiaso.
Hey, you're playing with another Chicago native. Our boy Jared. Love it. Way to represent. Sorry, Pamela, Jared, way to represent. That's all I'm saying.
They do a good job.
We still got it up here in the Midwest. Hazel, how about you?
So I am off to England. I actually fly to England on Monday, and I will be based again with UAE over there, which is brilliant. I'll be playing all the ladies polo with them and hopefully a bit of mixed. And then after that, I'll be coming back to Argentina in the big season, and Hope and I are actually playing together for UAE for the Argentine Open this year. So very excited.
And Pamela, I know what's going on with you. I think right around the corner. So you're busy outside the boards doing something.
Yes. So Louis and I are getting married in June. And so that's what's next up on the horizon for me, which I'm very excited about. And in terms of polo, to be honest, Danny, I don't have anything planned out as of now because my focus has shifted a little bit to getting married and starting a family, hopefully, God willing. So, I don't want to commit myself too much to any polo in the event that I'm fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to go down the path of starting a family. So getting married, hanging out with Louis, loving on him, and hopefully starting a family.
Maybe Hazel and I will be able to persuade Pam Pam to come to Argentina, even if it's pregnant Pam Pam.
I will be the best cheerleader. I will be the best line dance partner. You name it. No, for me, Danny, it's just work and family and cheering on these girls and supporting them in whatever way I can. Even if I can't play polo technically because of the hope to start a family, even if I can't play, Hazel and Hope are two of the most amazing women I've ever played with and two of the most amazing women in the sport. And I want to do everything I can in my power to help support them in their careers and frankly, to keep winning, to keep being a part of the incredible momentum that we've started. So I don't know what that looks like, but I'll be involved in some respect. I just don't know what that would be yet.
Now, do you think we're going to see the same team or something similar going into next year's Open? Are we too early to make any news about that?
Never too early to start planning for next year. I think we'll see how things play out. Right now, there's a big conversation happening in the USPA regarding the 24-goal level or lowering it to the 22-goal level. I don't think it's been finalized quite yet. Has there been any sort of final?
Not that I've heard of.
Me neither. And so, candidly, I'm of the opinion that it should stay at the highest level possible at 24.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have access to Field 1 and we have the main stage and we have ESPN. I want to try to keep the level high, and I've been on my high horse trying to explain that to fellow women polo players who may not share that perspective. It's not set in stone yet. So without the level being set in stone, you can't officially secure a team because you have to either be 22 or 24 goals. I know for sure I won't be participating. I won't be playing. But like I said, I'll do what I can to help Hope and Hazel. So hopefully they will, and we'll see how that goes.
So going from 24 to 22, is that just because they want more teams to participate? It just opens up the door more?
That's the main argument. However, historically, that hasn't been effective. 2 years ago, it was 22 and they had 5 teams. This year, it was 24 and they had 5 teams.
So it's too early to tell then. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's a bit too early to tell. The main difference is now we have Sunday, 3:00 Field 1. So maintaining an upper level, in my opinion, is incredibly important. So the argument to keep it high is to maintain the best level of polo that we can sustain. And if we can sustain 5 teams with 22 and 5 teams with 24, then the number of teams entering isn't really a factor in this. So
Yeah.
I think for the professionals to keep playing the highest level possible for both Hope and Hazel and girls like them that are 8, 9, 10 goals, I think from my understanding, all of them are proponents of the higher level. I think it's just a few sponsors who want to kind of merge teams and are capable of doing that at a lower level that are pushing to lower it. So that's kind of where the main arguments lie.
Okay. See what happens. But like you said, I think it might be too early to tell to jump ship and go back down to 22. With men's, I think there was a consistency over time. But then again, I do know that there's a handful that were very upset about lowering it. But no, you build a good case. You do.
I think it should be it's a prestigious tournament. I think it needs to keep. You see it, the Polo in Argentina and in England, and it keeps rising. And even if they're, I mean, like you said, we've already had like 5 or 6 teams for each tournament, but it is prestigious and it should be the highest level. There can be other levels played, but I think personally, like all the girls are improving. There's big organizations coming up behind. There's sponsors left, right, and center, and I think it's the best thing that it's at a high level. And yeah.
I completely agree with both what Hazel and Pam are saying. To be honest, the Open isn't an easy tournament to be able to get to play and to do everything, and it isn't for the mixed as well. So I think that it's, like Hazel said, it's a prestigious tournament, and it needs to be at the highest level that it possibly can be.
Well, and on top of that, the trajectory of polo and the expansion of women's polo in other main areas. You have Federation of International Polo now have the women's tournament. You have, I think, the East Coast Open, the Pacific Coast Open are all having their own spin-offs from what they do with the men. The Ryder Cup, I know, is expanding to have all women's tournament alongside the men's, I think. So with that being said, the trajectory where things are going, why make any changes to that? Because if there's going to be increase in participation in teams, there likely will be a transition and increase of teams on that level. So we'll see what happens. That's all you can do at this, but yet it's too early to tell. But hey, guys, so fun having you guys on. I'm glad this all worked out with 3 people and Hazel on a phone with Pamela. But no, I heard you great.
Before you wrap up, though, I do want to say one more thing. And
sure.
I think, and all of us agree that we owe a lot of our success to not just Julio, who helped us, and India, who was our trainer, but to the Lefay and Dazos teams, especially Lefay. Those boys rented us all of their horses from day one. They were there holding our sticks. They were there helping us in every respect. They took a helicopter from Sarasota after their game to make sure that they made it to our final in time because they didn't want to miss it. We had 9 goalers like Fran Elizalde and 6, 7, 8 goalers driving up to Port Mayaca to watch women's polo, not because they had to, but because they wanted to and they supported us. You just don't see a lot of teams have that kind of support from anyone, really. And it was definitely seen and noticed by our team. And I can speak for all of the girls to say that it was really inspiring and uplifting for us to have their support in so many ways, because those boys went above and beyond. And Louis did not make them do that. Louis was not asking them to do a favor and show up at our games and help us out. They elected to. So knowing that we had that support was so meaningful to us. And speaking of Louis, he supported us in more than one way. He supported us financially, he supported us with horses, he supported us with organization, coordination, and we represented Lefay for that reason. But more importantly, even if we didn't, he would have done it all the same. So I'm just so grateful and so thankful for Louis, for Eastern Hay, one of our corporate sponsors, Hawaii Polo Life and Chris Dawson, who were our corporate sponsors, and then of course the whole Lefay and Dazos organization, who they were with us from day one, even from the 6th goal, they were with us. So really, really glad for their help.
And to complement that, Pamela, my conversation with Louis and, how he described the background of the Lefay and Dazos team, that is such a well-oiled machine going on over there. And, you echoed a lot of what he said in my conversation and really gave props to his whole team, Julio, all of them, and what they're able to accomplish from the horses to training to putting teams together and so on and so forth. So I echo that. Big shout out to those guys. So that's awesome.
We jokingly called their tack room the frat house because they were like fraternity boys hanging out every day after polo. Whether they were playing that day or not, they'd all get together and hang out in the tack room and chit chat. And it wasn't just 1 or 2. It was like 12 to 15 guys hanging out in the tack room. And I think Louis done an incredible job of creating that sort of community and family feel. Just like with us girls last year, even, and this year, it was like a sorority. Us girls came together and we're all friends and we had that community, and that basis and that community foundation of a team. It makes winning richer. It makes losing richer. It just makes everything more enjoyable. It really is an important foundation to have. We were friends on and off the field, and I don't think all the teams had that same sort of foundation. And I credit a lot of it to Hope and Hazel in the way that they kind of brought Winnie in. The two of them have always been close.
We did so many things together. I don't think there was a day spent that we didn't spend together. To be honest, right after the Open, kind of when everyone started to get doing their own things, it was like there was a hole missing, there was something missing. And I was extremely sad when it was all over. I miss Pam and Hazel so much and Winnie. It was like there was something missing. And to be honest, it was, like I had mentioned before, it was like a big family. I'm so grateful to the whole Lafayette team for everything that they did, and to all the sponsors and Dazzles, everyone.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thank you so much again. And by the way, I don't know what the hazing rituals are over there. They got to be fun. I have no doubt that line dancing is probably going to be incorporated into that. I'm sorry, Hope, you're going to get crap for it now.
Yeah, I know. I think it was just out of me. Thank you. At least the video hasn't gone around.
There is evidence somewhere. And there's also photo evidence of Pamela and her Sunday best.
Well, Hope or Hazel, do you have anything to say as we sign off here?
No, I mean, for me, like Pamela said, at the end of the day, none of this happens without all the sponsors and everyone putting all of the hard work in. There's so much behind the scenes, and it was just an absolute pleasure. And I really hope that we can all do it again. Like I said, I'm still lapping it up. I'm still in cloud nine, and I'm just going to hold on to that. So no, nothing, but it was just awesome. Absolutely awesome.
How about you, Hope?
Honestly, I feel the same. I'm so grateful that we were able to do it. And like Hazel said, I hope that one day we can do it again. I love both Hazel and Pam so much, and it's nice to hear their voices all together again. I've missed it.
Well, I'm glad. Hopefully I poured some enthusiasms to go about and have a second celebration of winning the Open. So hopefully you guys will all go out tonight, enjoy the weekend, celebrate for a second time, feed off that high. It's got to be wonderful. But congratulations to all four of you, including Winnie, who can't join us today.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for having us on.
Yeah, no, this has been fun. I know now I can have four people in a way and doing things. So I got to do these things more often. So thanks again, guys, for joining, and best of luck to each one of you and what you guys are doing. You're incredibly busy, and I hope we get a chance to work together and enjoy your summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Good luck to everybody. Take care.
Bye, girls.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
In 2012, the founders of Outside the Boards witnessed their first polo match and were stunned by the sport's beauty and brutality. Few sports, if any, have these combined qualities. The sport's grace, intensity, and warlike imagery create a shock and awe viewing experience like none other. Combine this with the sport's party-like atmosphere and lifestyle, and you have a recipe for success. Today, the sport has yet to witness its full potential. The industry is fragmented, riddled with politics and inexperience. Outside the Boards was purposely designed to change all that and bring clarity to the sport by introducing best practices, insights, trends, and consulting services to industry stakeholders and interested brands so that they can reach their marketing potential and better navigate the sport. Whether you're a club seeking custom sponsorship and marketing solutions or simply looking for strategic advice, we encourage you to contact us today or subscribe to gain access to industry insights. Visit us at www.outsidetheboards.com or to learn more or email us at info@outsidetheboards.com. Now we have reached the part of the show where we address outside the boards issues affecting the sport of polo with the sharing of insights, ideas, and best practices towards solving everyday marketing, branding, and sponsorship problems, avoiding bad habits, or helping to navigate through new trends and how to best leverage those opportunities. Hi, everyone. On this episode's insights, well, you know what? I'm going to take a break on the insights and want to thank everyone for listening into this season 3's podcast. I really, really appreciate it. So many listeners already that have come through. It's been fantastic to see everyone tuning in. And a big shout out to my last crew that came on the last podcast with Pamela, Hope, and Hazel. It was a little bit tricky getting everyone organized together, but that was the first that we had so many people on at once, and it was a lot of fun. And I really hope to do more team interviews, if you will, in the future. So again, if you have anyone like a team, a group of individuals, a family, player, leader within the industry that you would like to see on this podcast in the future and for season 4, by all means, please email me at info@outsidetheboards.com. Another huge shout out to United States Polo Association and the National Polo Center Wellington for being a presenting sponsor of this year's season 3 podcast. Big shout out to Matt Barron, who helped bring it all together. And I really look forward to our relationship in the future. We have so many great ideas that are flowing that go above and beyond just an 8-episode season, from potentially looking at historical figures and interviewing them, potentially moving into live video. We'll see. And I look forward to exploring those ideas further with the governing body. So thank you everyone for tuning in this season. So thank you very much. Also, if you're looking for outside the boards to do any sort of consulting, marketing, or anything like that you're interested in doing, by all means, please email us, please contact, just visit our website, outsidetheboards.com, where you can find some more information about what we do. So thank you everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your spring and a fantastic summer. Take care. That was a great episode. What is the one thing you learned from today's conversation? If this episode had an impact on you in some way, then I encourage you to visit and subscribe to our website at outsidetheboards.com for more episodes and interviews with incredible guests. Thanks for stopping by, my friends, and hope to see you on the polo field.